Inspired by the rejected prompts from Jazzas UCD1, I began creating a world I call Therius, with a growing list of notes in a binder. Here is more in that series, The World of Therius, primarily set in the city of Tel El Varidos, at a burlesque called the Cartouche of Stars. In the very little filled-in Northlands that I'm still working on, I was inspired to create the Galdenis. They are cold-adapted, partially able to transform their bodies, and they have a nice, poofy tail. They also tend to have very large feet and hands, and they can grow claws on those or have them have more human-like nails. In general, they have a human equivalent lifespan, and they're able to transform their bodies a bit, facial features, horn details, get about a foot taller or shorter, and a bit thinner or wider. They're also able to sometimes have magical cantrips and a few other abilities. I am working out the statistics for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I'm working out the species here before I do an individual character who's supposed to be a new performer at the Cartouche of Stars that I'm adding to the main story. Here's an example of a male. They tend to be a bit larger than females, but in this case he's supposed to be a lot closer to the viewer than she is. And in general, they're a little shorter than humans on average, ranging about 4 foot 9 inches to up to 6 feet, but in general they err on the side of shorter than the average human. I decided that it would be interesting if they believe in a god that's also an alien being that may or may not have actually created their kind, or simply brought them to this world, but that perhaps they have alien origins on this particular planet. However, I kind of want it to be not completely clear. But later as I work on the story, I might hammer things down a bit more. Their fur ranges from shades of pale grayish blue and turquoise, most commonly the color tone showed here, which can be a little bit more on the vibrant pale side, more bluish or turquoise, or a little bit more on the grayish side. The same areas on the body, varying only a little bit, though they can vary a bit for individuals, are shades of pale cream to white, and in some cases they can be a little more on the grayish side. They have eyes that are most common shades of orange to red, including sometimes deep reddish purple, and in very rare cases their eyes can be a pale tone. Their hair is usually dark indigo, but sometimes is also purple, blue, or turquoise, and it is very rare for them to have light colored hair, but it does happen sometimes. They also are adapted to see in the dark, and have dark vision out to 60 feet, able to see another 60 feet out in low light conditions. The small amount of light allows them to see a bit more in color, but when it's completely dark they can still see, almost magically. However, things will appear more in total grayscale. With various cultures based on the nation and region they're in, they're going to be fairly common northern species on this world. And now for the individual. Varin Griffin is another performer for the Cartouche of Stars Burlesque in the City of Splendor's Tel El Varidos. I'm going to have her be a recent arrival for the beginning of the story. She's extremely enthusiastic. Originally from the colder Northlands, she loves the carnival theme, costume and aesthetic, and tends to be very extra. Her culture was not as open about sexual display publicly. However, she seems to be very interested in such things. The dancing from her culture is different, but she was an expert in her native dances. Recently, she's trained very much in order to become an expert at more striptease, pole dancing, and sexual display dances of the South, and was recently hired from an audition in order to work at the Cartouche of Stars. Very short and curvy at 5 feet tall, she chose the stage name Snow Dancer, and she uses magic illusion cantrip called Minor Illusion on stage to add effects, but she'll also use it off stage just to punctuate her speech. She very much enjoys beautiful fashion and is known to be bold and brash and critique people's fashion. She can get into trouble sometimes because she can be a little too vocal and rude about things with people she even just met, as well as tends to go into people's personal space without respect for personal bubbles as much. However, she always intends well and is actually a very happy-go-lucky kind of person. She considers Tel El Varidos to be her true home and will declare it loudly all the time. She absolutely loves pretty much everything about this city of splendors. She loves to go shopping and will punctuate her speech with beautiful sparkling illusions, and she tends to be a little bit too much for people sometimes, but in general is almost always very well-meaning. She also has a great sense of humor, and in the story she should have a bit of an accent to represent the fact that she's from the Northlands and originally spoke a different language than the one commonly spoken here. However, the common or trade tongue is more of a global thing on this world, so I believe she would have already known how to speak it, just with a regional dialect accent. With little filter, this 27-year-old is very joyful to hang out with. Now on to Mekara Heftet, the best friend of the original character shown in the first video. She is a Moranfa elf, or gemstone elf. However, she is one of the gemless, and therefore lacks any of the natural gemstones, which could be in the forehead, eyebrow, or clavicle. Individuals vary, and many look down upon the gemless, while others simply live and let live. The more multicultural and tourist-heavy city of Tel El Varidos has a more welcoming overall atmosphere than the original place she may have come from. Aging a bit slower than humans, they reach adulthood at around 30, and then remain more youthful with lifespans based on how many gems they have. In the case of a gemless, it's 500 years. At 39, Mekara is still very young for a Moranfa. She is 5 foot 7 inches tall and tends to have a very regal bearing. She enjoys the finer things and is quite skilled and talented at burlesque and dance. She sometimes needs encouragement to work harder from her best friend Intakes. She very much enjoys partaking of the city's splendors. Restaurants, bazaars, fine vendors, and other stage shows and entertainments abound in the riverside metropolis, and she loves to take them all in. She often is very excellent at keeping up with interesting gossip and rumors, and she makes friends with others very well. She loves to haggle and return to various vendors, keeping up a more personal touch with them. She intends to someday run the Cartouche of Stars herself, or, failing that, start and run her own burlesque theater. She dislikes any prejudice or being mistreated as being lower class for being gemless. She very much enjoys finding deals while shopping, and she enjoys being very feminine in her overall outlook and demeanor. She also enjoys being particularly skilled at her craft, but she enjoys the business side of things too. She is known to sometimes get lazy and other times work fairly hard. She has different moods, but does actually enjoy the business side of things. She would probably hire additional help by the time she gets her own business, but right now that's just a future aspiration, as she's an employee of the Cartouche of Stars rather than the owner. I haven't actually worked out the story for who the owner is, but I don't wish to cause too much conflict in the Cartouche itself, so I believe they're going to be fairly friendly, whomever they are. Please remember, you can leave suggestions in the comment section below, and I would take them into consideration when working out details for this world in the future. Also leave suggestions for future videos in this series. I still have the Gecko Lizard Folk Chef Lev to Heart Scales to do for the next video, and I have some of the gods worked out for this world and various other things I can include. Let me know if you're interested in seeing the building, the Cartouche of Stars itself, and what you'd like in future videos. Moranfa elves, such as Mekara here, can have shades of purple in their hair, and she has different shades of purple and violet and magenta in her hair. She has mid-tone brown eyes and very dark skin, as you can see. They tend to usually have dark hair, eyes, and skin, and can have colors beyond the human range. Here's a main color chart for eyes and hair. Once again, that's all for this video. If you like my videos, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell to all notifications so you will know when a new video comes up. I aim for new videos every Wednesday, but sometimes life happens and things are delayed. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you with another one very soon.